Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, the creator of the original Crock-Pat diet, and glad to see you this week. It's been fraught with peril. Had some stuff personally going on Thursday, and then the internet was broken yesterday. So at any rate, at long last, on Saturday at 1 o'clock, here we are. And good friend and client Debbie Zimmerman asked me about bone broth for dogs, and I think that is a great idea. If you're not familiar with bone broth, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a broth made from bones. You slow cook them for quite a while. The reason that this has become such a big deal all of a sudden is that in doing so, you do a couple of things. One is, guess where glucosamine and chondroitin come from? Joints and bones. So you're making this nice, lovely soup that's got this liquid version of glucosamine and chondroitin present. You also, because of the slow cooking process, you also end up leaching all the minerals out of the bones. This is where it's important to make sure that your bones are good stuff, and I'll talk about that in a second. And this just incredibly nurturing soup. And if your pets had GI issues, if you have GI issues, it is awesome. And unfortunately, I've struggled with that quite a bit this year. And I drank literally gallons of this stuff and made gallons and gallons of soup out of it. So it's fantastic. And it is incredibly easy to make. So you can buy it at Amazon, or your local. Actually, I think even Harris Teeter and some of the higher end grocery stores carry them, as well as certainly Whole Foods and other natural food marts. But it's like $12 for less than a quart, which is hideously expensive. And then the other thing is that most of those pre-made broths include things like onions and other vegetables for flavoring. And so if you have sensitivities, or your pet has sensitivities to things like FODMAPs, those fermentable oligomosaccharides and polyols, and things of that nature, onions are really great, but they're very high in a particular type of FODMAP. And I can tell you from personal experience that unfortunately, if you've got those sensitivities, it is just not fun. Interestingly, once what happened to me is eating onions, I had to get more brain fog as well as GI symptoms, which really stinks. So again, there's your leaky gut issue, and it affects the GI tract, but it affects other parts of your body as well. So bone broth, super easy, and I'm going to show you how to do it right quick. The one thing I did mention earlier is be certain of where your bones are from. So because we're going to get all the good stuff out of the bones, if these are not grass-fed animals and they're not living in places that have low contamination with heavy metals and things of that nature, that can be a problem potentially. So it's important to make sure you're using pasture-raised and grass-fed animals, as much free-range type poultry, that sort of stuff, as you can. So that's the awesome thing, is that it is getting easier and easier to do that. And because bone broth has become so popular, it's actually very easy to get bones at the grocery store. So what do you need to make this stuff? You need three things, and I forgot one crucial ingredient. So bear with me a second. And ingredient number one is apple cider vinegar. Bragg apple cider vinegar really kind of revolutionized this idea of having the mother, and it's been around for 30, 40, 50 years, a long time. The reason that mother is important is that it provides all of the good probiotic sweetie organisms that help you out. So it's a great vinegar to use for salad dressing. Your second ingredient is bones, and hope you don't get dizzy, but this is what I've got here. So we've got some bones that are from leftover chickens and ducks and things that we've roasted, and then we've got these lovely beef bones. And So for flavor, beef bones, not so fantastic. Chicken bones, duck that have been roasted, awesome. A lot of people will take the step to actually roast the bones, the beef bones as well, but I get a little lazy. So, and for dogs, they don't care so much. So what do? You pick your container. I'm going for volume, as you can see. That's a 6-inch hotel pan, and this is the finished product, which kind of looks unappetizing. But essentially all you're going to do is put your bones and apple cider vinegar, and what I would say is, so this is that pan is 18 quarts, and you want something like a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar per quart of water. You put some foil over the top of it, or a cover, whatever you're using, and you can use a crock pot for this, which is awesome because you're going to cook it for 24 hours. So I just put that bad boy, and that actually fits in a standard conventional oven. Put it in there on 250 for 24 hours, and then this is the result. So my task for the rest of the morning is to kind of jug this stuff up and get some of it frozen. Again, 5 days in the fridge is about as much as you want to go. Now, when you start offering this to your pets, go slow, especially if you've got some questions in the back of your mind about whether they have food sensitivities. And that's where you want to be very careful if you're not certain that the bones are from animals that your pet tolerates well. So that's just go slow, and literally for kitties, maybe it's a half a teaspoon. For dogs, maybe it's for small dogs, same idea. But maybe for the larger dogs, 50 pounds or so, then I would take it up to something like a teaspoon per meal and gradually increase. And I think you want to use somewhere around an ounce per meal max, and you may not need that, but it's a great way to add in glucosamine chondroitin and all these good nutrients like glutamine and things of that nature to help support the GI function. So hope that makes sense and that you've enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions right now, I'm happy to answer them, but I did want to get you this info out, and Debbie, thanks for asking about it. But this is the way you can save yourself a ton of money, because it's buying pre-made bone broth is just terribly expensive. So that's what I got for today. I will see you guys next week, and until then, remember, your pet's best health starts in the bowl. Take good care.